Check this out. It's Let's Talk Music with your boy None Illa, and today we're going to be talking about whether or not you still need a major label. Here's the thing. You may not need the traditional record label help, but you do need the record label knowledge. So you may not need to go and try to get a deal, but you need to have a team who does what the record label does and knows what the record label knows. That's the only way you'll be successful in that route. Record labels do a lot of things that artists don't know about. So you can't just think because people are making it independent that they don't have people out there doing it for themselves. So you need to make sure that the marketing, the distribution, your social media profiles, everything with your brand is done correctly. And you have to make sure you have everything down pat with your communications. Are your songs copyrighted? Is the publishing done correctly? You also need to make sure that people are looking and doing the right things for placements. Are they seeking to get your songs synchronized and put on TV shows, movies, indie films? How's your networking coming with artists, other artists? Are you getting features? Are you getting the respect? Are you getting in the proper places? This is the major thing that a major label does that many people don't know about. And see, the problem with that is, if you get a call from a major label, if you get a call from an Atlantic, or you get a call from a Warner Brothers, or a Universal, or a Motown, or a specific, any label, people pick up the phone differently than, yo, this is my homeboy Records calls them. So you need to make sure your numbers add up. You need to make sure you're getting your streams. You need to make sure your money is coming in correctly and that you're getting the respect, which takes a lot more work when working independently. Not saying it can't be done. Now, on the flip side, in this day and age, the major labels are competing with the independent person for the same space. So that means for every SoundCloud, YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, every other one that's out there, there's plenty, I can go on forever. But you can find the most recent major artist video the same place that the independent artists will put in a video. The difference is they have a name. So more people are going to go look for Drake's new video than your new video or your artist's new video. Why? Because they know who they are. So that familiarity comes from being put by what they call the record label, which is the engine. When you're put in the engine, phone calls happen differently. The DJs know who you are because they get put in the record pools. You get the network that they have. You get the list of songwriters and placements. That's the key that the major label has. And only difference is they can push things a lot harder than you know how to initially. Doesn't mean you can't hire the same help. Some of the same help that the record labels go and get are available for you, but you may not have their budget. So you need to make sure that if you choose to opt out of a record label, you have a strong team behind you who knows what they are doing, who knows their role and knows how to execute it. For instance, yes, you can get about the same amount of money depending on the grind. Look at Nipsey Hussle. Look at Tech Nine. Look at their independent grind. Tech Nine ends up on the Forbes list every year, and he's doing it independently. That lets you know he's making money, and he's up there with the Jay-Z's, the Diddy's, the Dr. Dre's. He's up there with that company, and he's doing it independently. Let me paint a picture for you. Let's do easy numbers, right? So let's say you get signed to a major label, and for every $100, you bring back 10 of those dollars. This is me being nice. You bring back 10 for that 100. And you don't have to give it to anyone. Even though it's not how it works, you usually have to give it to managers and other things that you pay out. But we're going to say you get 10 out of that $100, right? So in order for you to make $1 million, right? To make $1 million, you need to be able to get $10 million brought back to the label. If you bring $10 million to the label, that's the only way you will touch $1 million. That's not including taxes or everything else. We're doing a real quick round off. Now, if you're independent, you're bringing back, let's say you bring back $85 out of that 100. Quick little round off, you know, give or take. Maybe even, you know, let's say 90%, because I'm not going to try to do all these numbers right now. If you bring back $1 million and you're getting 90%, you're automatically closer. You've made $900,000. So even though you might sell less, right? Even though you might sell less on an independent route, because you make a larger percentage, you already are making as much as you would with a major. The difference is you just don't get the same clout, right? Because it takes a lot more recognition than you can pull off by yourself independently the majority of the time. There's exceptions. Than if you had a label behind you. So what does this mean as far as your music? This means that, honestly, and let me keep this in mind too. I want you to listen to this closely. If you're doing numbers enough independently, a label will reach out to you. In fact, now, because they want you built with the following, with everything else going, by the time a label actually reaches out and shows interest, you're probably better off denying the deal. The only thing that may hurt is labels do put money up front. It takes a lot of money to make it in this industry. Labels will put up money up front for you. It's called an advance. When you're independent, you don't really have that. So if you can find investors or other people who believe in you, or people on your team where you can scrape up money together to be where it counts as often as possible, then there's a chance it matters. There's a chance that you'll make a difference. Just think about whether or not you want to do a major label or if you want to be independent. Your biggest deciding factor will be, do you know the business? If not, do you know who to hire to do the business side of it? Are you willing to grind that much harder? And are you okay with not being the big time celeb at first if your money is right? And can you do the grind? Because you're not going to get some of the breaks for being on certain tours, but it don't mean you can't. You just have to have the right people with you, and you guys need to push together. Anyway, y'all know the deal. Comment, like, subscribe, share. Make sure you are onto this, because all I can do is get you the information. It's up to you to make sure that you use it. All right, I'm out.